Well, good evening and welcome to this edition of the Island Stats Cricket Show. I'm your host, Earl Basting. Joining me is co-host Andre Dothmanders as well as Calvin Waldron. Good evening, gentlemen. We've had a lot of cricket played in the last 2 days as the T20 season has gotten underway. Let me just run down the results from the Premier Division yesterday. Western Stars won by 81 runs over St. David's Cricket Club. It was Western Stars scoring 120 for 8. St. David's were bowled out for 39. Bayless Bay won by 6 wickets over Willowcotts. Willowcotts were all out for 109. Bayless Bay scored 113 for 4. St. George's Cricket Club won by 5 wickets over the Somerset Cricket Club. Somerset Cricket Club scored 156 for 4, and St. George's scored 157 for 5. Looking at Premier Division matches today, St. George's Cricket Club won by 65 runs over St. David's Cricket Club. St. George's scored 155 for 4, and St. David's were bowled out for 90. Bailey's Bay won by 17 runs over Somerset Cricket Club. Bailey's Bay scored 123 for 8. Somerset Cricket Club 106 for 8 in their 20 overs. And then Western Stars won by 94 runs over Willowcotts. Western Stars scored 218 for 2. Willowcotts could only manage 124 for 9. Yesterday in First Division play, Warwick Workmen's won by 7 wickets over Devonshire Recreation Club. Devonshire Recreation Club scored 97 for 7, and Warwick would score 102 for 3. Flats won by 51 runs against Southampton Rangers. Flats scored 191 for 3, and Southampton Rangers could only manage 140 for 5. Today in First Division play, Warwick Workmen's won by 7 wickets over Somerset Bridge. Somerset Bridge scored 104 for 4. And Warwick Workman scored 105 for 3. Flats Victoria won by 67 runs over Devonshire Recreation Club. Flats scored 165 for 6. Devonshire Recreation Club 98 all out. And then the final match, Cleveland County won by 9 wickets over Southampton Rangers. They bowled Southampton Rangers out for 71, and they would score 75 for 1. Well, gentlemen, let's jump into yesterday's Premier Division matches. Western Stars winning by those 81 runs against St. David's. Western Stars batted first. They scored that 120 for 8. Kyrie Furritt was the top scorer with 34. George O'Brien, 2 for 19 or for 4. But St. David's were bowled out for 39. I think that's the biggest talking point. What would you say about that, Doc, with St. David's being bowled out for 39?
Well, I saw a little bit of the game. The wicket was, a little bit up and down. It's one of those wickets. If you got in, you had to stay in, and it was up. When I say up and down, like one would stay low, one would pop up, and I thought maybe 120 or 30 ones would be enough for Stars, but 120 ended up being enough. And when St. David's went in, I just think a little bit of the application, being that they saw that the wicket was, doing a few stuff, nobody really stayed in to battle. Kyrie made 30-something, and he really battled, he got hit a few times, ball staying low, but sometimes you just have to fight, He ended up scoring 34, and then I think Mackay Young came in and hit a quick fire 20-something not out, which gave him a nice total. Because it didn't look like they also get over 100 too. But, like I said, sometimes you got to battle on some of the wickets you play on.
Yeah.
And in the end, that 120 was enough. And when St. Davis went in, I think a few of the guys threw their wickets away. Nobody really, 39 runs. It's like, what's going on there? But, I think a lot of them, I think the application, they threw the wickets away too. And being that the wicket was up and down too.
Right. One of the things I noticed, there hasn't been a lot of work done on the Devonshire Rack wicket. I don't think they have a full-time groundsman. So, in your opinion, I remember when Somerset first played out there, they were complaining about the wicket. They did manage to score like 300 odd runs. But if the wickets are not prepared properly, should we still be playing games?
Well, that's all. Cal would probably answer that because that depends on the umpires. It's hard to determine. Like when you go out there, it looks playable. It might be a little dusty, but you still don't know how it's going to play until you actually get on it. I mean, as long as nobody's getting hit. I know, a few balls jumped up. A couple of bats from Stars got out. The ball popped up. One of them, I think, was the first two bats. I think Trey and my nephew Jalen, the balls popped up on them. And then a few balls later, they were staying low. So, but it, like I said, it's application. I guess it's it's just waiting for the bad ball, but it's hard to determine what to call the game off. I mean, otherwise the wicket, the field was in decent shape. The grass was cut, all the boundaries were out. But it's it definitely needs more wicket. I think it needs more water out there because it was very, very dry.
Yeah.
But like I said, Cal could probably answer that. And when the umpires, if they deem for it to be, unplayable, then they will call it.
Well, let me ask Cal, because one of the things, like Doc has said, you won't know how it's going to play until you actually play on it. When do you deem it, as I'm asking you as your umpire capacity, when do you deem it unsafe?
Well, after the match, you could just do your match report and forward it to the cricket committee to determine whether or not to have a conversation with the club. What can we do to go forward to get it in a better state? If nobody's getting injured, or like Doc said, no balls are popping up, which may result in injury, then you're hoping that the game can still progress. The worst you want to do is call it off, and at the end of the day, everybody wants to play cricket. They may say we'll fight through it, but it's still not conducive enough to be able to play any decent shots on it.
Okay. All right.
And that's a good point that Cal makes now. What St. Davis could do and Stars doing a match report. I mean, like, but the umpires report too. I'm sure they'll write down something too, like, whereas the picture was like, up and down, and then that's really up to the board to decide where what they're going to do about it. But like I said, as long as somebody's getting hurt, you can see somebody like hitting the head, and then it continues happening. Then you ain't got no other choice. Right. But like I said, none of that happened, so the game just continued on.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Let's go to the Willicott's Bayless Bay match, because Bayless Bay won by 6 wickets up at Southampton. Over Willicott scored 109. Herbie Bascom was the top scorer with 18. Shirai Tavares 4 for 28. He bowled spin, and then Bay got 113 for 4. Ray not out, and Herbie took 1 for 10. But Bayless Bay, clearly, they're enjoying the cricket. Would you say, Cal?
Yeah, they are. They're continuing their form. They're producing the results. So I think the Premier Division T20 is going to have some interesting matches coming up between Bay, St. George's, and Stars. So that will be the 3 top matches when them teams play each other.
Yeah, I kind of agree too, because what Bay's got on a lot of the other teams, right, is the Berlin, because they got built up for 123 today, and still ended up knocking on, a strong Somerset batting lineup, normally for like 90 something. So, and Dalray plays a big part in both the batting and Berlin, but also I think Rockney built a period today that changed the game. Too, they got little boy Tavares too. He's going, Cal. So your little boy Tavares too. He's been building pretty good too. So they got a very good building attack.
Yeah, I think the key, even in the 50 overs, is the slower bowlers have been dominating cricket a lot this season. So, after the power play is going and the faster bowlers over, teams are looking at that combination of the 4 slower bowlers to get rid of the overs. So that's what's been carrying a lot of teams through to get their win, and pegging batsmen down that's having trouble rotating strike and getting singles.
That's true, Cal. Very, very true. If you look at the Berlin stats, in the 2020, and some of the 50 over games too, a lot of the spinners is getting away wickets. 5, 4. You got the boy from St. Bayless Bay, that's Tavares. Yeah.
Shirai.
Right, he picked up like 3 or 4. He picked up 4 last week. I think got 3 or 4 today, and then the week before. So his been building good. Spinner. Bryant's been picking up 4 or 5 wickets a game. He got 5 a game today, and I think got 3 yesterday. It's like these spinners, even in St. George's team. Little boy Neil Pector has been getting a lot of wickets. It's being too. So, and Derek from St. David. So you're right. These spinners is really doing it. I don't know if it's because of the wickets or the batsmen, having trouble playing spin, or but it's definitely the spinners have been, getting the bulk of the wickets this year.
Yeah, I think teams are realizing that, and they're starting to push a lot of these slower bowlers. Like for yesterday, Sean got 4 wickets. Sean Riley for Bridge, 4 wickets off his slow ball, and it's a seam bowler, so his slower ball is deceiving everybody. So guys are learning and understanding the concept of the T20 structure and how to get around and get the slower bowlers on, get through the power play, change your field. Let's bring on these slower bowlers and take people down.
And that's so true. That's supposed to say the same thing with Brian today. He got 5 wickets, but even though he bowls a little faster, but it was his slow ones where he was looping it that got the wickets today. He got 3 with the slow ball, and people trying to hit him outside or even getting stumped, going on the wicket, getting stumped or hitting catches. So it's definitely slow balls, like and even with the faster bowlers, I see that a lot of those slow balls, the slower variations is getting wickets too.
Yeah, so like I said, it's people understanding the concept of the variations. Like you said, in T20, it's playing a big part in creating and breaking partnerships, getting wickets. How can we get out of the power play, or how can we just rotate and switch things around?
And not only that, Cal, you see a lot of teams now open up with speed. One pacer, Bayless Bay does that a lot. If they're chasing a low score, there's always somebody, and they're in Dowray, right?
Yep.
That way, he might just build 2. If he gets a couple of the early batsmen, then they'll bring on these spinners. And a few other teams is trying that, especially when they're chasing low totals. But it's kind of working out for them, man.
Yeah, like we was talking earlier, it could be the condition of the pitches where they're realizing it's not really favoring the faster bowlers. So let's just bring on the slower bowlers and dry, dusty wickets. Let's get the ball to spin and turn.
Spin and turn, or one staying low, or popping up. If you got a spinner popping the ball up now and then, it's definitely something's definitely wrong with the wicket, But like I said, I still think sometimes it's really you're coming on to the batsman per se. I watched the squad play the other night, National Stadium. If you look at the bulk of the wickets again that night, was the spinners again. Big field, and there's a lot of guys getting caught on the boundary, and not just caught on the boundary, but like that hesitating to kind of being that the field is a lot bigger, that tempted to hit the ball now. Whereas if it's a smaller field, they're gonna go. They're gonna have that same mindset. Like, I don't care if it's a big field, if they're gonna go for the shot, good. If not, keep it on the ground. That's my thing. Like watching the squad play the other night, I think the bulk of the wickets came from the spinners too. St. George's played the squad Friday night.
Yeah, we played Friday night. What ended up being a 17-over match. So
right,
because of the time frame, but like you said, the slower bowling is known to trouble us batsmen or comedian cricketers. So everybody's just pushing that slower bowling through.
And I think that if I was a coach now, if I was coaching the team, I do help coach a bit, but you got to get these guys using their feet deep in the crease or whatever it is, Cal, because eventually when they get in tournaments, teams pick that up quick. When you play Canada, I'm not saying that they probably do. If they notice if the wicket's taking turn, they're going to play 3 or 4 spinners. So we have to try to rotate the strike, keep the ball on the ground, and if you're going to go skip down the wicket, try it, man. Don't think if you're playing on a big field.
Hey guys, let's take
a lot of
commercial
guys,
break. When we come back, we continue this conversation. We'll be right back, okay?
A lot of these guys
John Barrett & Son is bringing us something fresh and exciting for the new year. Vi Antioxidant Infusion Beverage. Vi delivers the natural antioxidant benefits of the coffee fruit in glorious combination with a variety of exotic fruit flavors, with only 1 gram of sugar and 10 calories per bottle. The folks at Vi are inviting us on a world tour through these amazing flavors. Brasilia blueberry, Zambia Bing cherry, Costa Rica clementine, Malawi mango, Panama peach, Ipanema pomegranate, Kupang strawberry kiwi, and more. Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
I'm also thankful and grateful because my greatest value of my life is my legacy.
But why I do it? I feel supposed to do it. I was put here to be here, to do what I'm doing right now. Once I see somebody moving, it's the greatest joy for me. There's a little person being born.
I am thankful that people have given me the trust, for me to empower them, from my players to my family to friends, and that's what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful that people have allowed me and trusted me to be in their life.
And welcome back. Unfortunately, my internet is not the greatest today, but we'll fight through it. I heard you guys talking a lot about the Bayless Bay match, using Del Rey to start Burling. He's been able to help that team become more of an all-round team now, and people just pitching in wherever is needed. Let's now look at the St. George's Somerset match that took place up at the Somerset Cricket Club. St. George's won by 5 wickets. LJ Richardson was the top scorer. He's scoring 78 not out. He hit 5 fours and 5 sixes after 58 balls. Mackay Simmons 2 for 27. St. George's got 65 from Charles Trott in replies. They scored 157 for 5. He also hit 5 fours and 5 sixes. Nairobi Mills 2 for 24. That particular match, obviously, St. George's are looking to get a good start in the T20 and defending their title, but did just that, got off to a good start. Looking at someone like LJ Richardson, I've been talking with quite a few people. He's technically sound. Would you say, Doc?
Oh yeah, he's technically sound, and he can hit the ball pretty hard. He's one of those batsmen. He starts off a little slow. Once he gets in, he's a good shot maker. He reminds me when he was there. But anything with him, he basically, keeps the ball on the ground. Quick between the wickets. So I'm not surprised that he's making runs, and he's in the UK now. So I'm sure, he's been over there getting some more decent training. But his I think it's really good batsman. I haven't seen him play this season, but I know watching him, from score training and stuff, he's got the right technique.
Sure. And one thing, Cal, for St. George's, Charles Trott is a hit or miss for him.
Yeah.
Some of that bat in his hand, and then the other times he does well with the ball in his hand. But his match-winning performance kind of guided them to a victory.
I would say it's a valuable asset because it's left-handed. It gives you that variety deep in the batting order. You could make your batting order very flexible. And as well as Bill, he builds some good lines and lengths. So when he's on, he's on. And, there's any batsman that has a bad day when they're off, they're off. So, like you said, it's worth a Bill to stay out of that left-handed windmill. He's developed a lot of shots, even on the on side, where he can pick up the singles and rotate the strikes. So, but when it's hitting good.
Now let's look at the Premier Division today. We'll start off with St. George's beating St. David's. One day you're going against your cup match rivals. The next day you're going against your neighbors.
Yep.
St. George's was able to defeat St. David's by 65 runs. Onias Bascom 53 not out. 2 fours, 3 sixes. George O'Brien, 2 for 21. St. David's all out for 90. Justin Pitcher, top scorer with 17. Shakai Darrow, 2 for 27. Doc, St. George's defending this T20 Premier Division title. Would you say playing against two rivals to start the tournament and getting victories, does that help their confidence that much?
Oh, sure. In this T20, well, even 50 overs tournament too, you got to get your W's early, because, and then you keep your run rate up because, never know if that's going to be teams are tired and stuff. But, the defending champions said they want to, kick off the T20 winning. They're going to get some harder games coming up, I think, when they play Bay, Stars, and there's a few other teams that probably could match them. But I think they're gonna be going for it. Like I said, the good matchup with them would probably be against Baylor's Bay.
Yeah. Cal, where does St. David's go from here? All out for 39 one day, all out for 90 day two.
Well, I think they haven't been relegated last year. They're in a rebuilding phase. If they recognize that and accept that, so where do they want the whole program to go? Period. T20 may not give a true reflection of their capabilities and abilities, because they did do better in the 50 overs. So they just have to collectively decide, who's playing, because there was a lot of youngsters playing with them today. So maybe that's the time to blood them in, breed them in. That's going to be the future. To be keep some of these senior players around with them to help groom them along. So unfortunately, they're getting groomed in this T20 format, which is ideally not a good thing, but they may be good T20 players at the end of the day. So it's a matter of the program accepting where they are and coming up with a solution to move forward.
Well, the under 19, they have two players that are going to be good with that squad that actually depletes St. David's a little more, and obviously Warwick has the most, and we'll get to Warwick in due course. But when you have young players who are in the national program, national setup, and getting ready to go, are you hoping that those, especially the two players in the squad, are looking to spend time at the crease, looking to build innings, even if you don't get even if you don't cross the score, just try and stay and occupy the wicket as long as possible?
I don't know.
I would say, but then it's still a matter of where the team is at when they come in. Like, is the game set up for them to be in a comfortable position to do it? You're still hitting the ball, trying to force or get the runs, but do it constructively. Instead of like today, they weren't on par with St. George's. St. George's were a far better outfit today than that. But at the end of the day, St. David's are probably a far better than the two results I had this whole weekend. Next weekend, it could be something totally different.
Right. What's your thoughts, Doc?
I kind of agree. I agree with the getting the youngsters in there, because if you look at St. George's team, it's got a few seniors that are slowly working their way out. You got George O'Brien, you still got OJ playing. A lot of these guys, in the late 30s and close to 40s. So you got to get these youngsters in it. You don't want these guys stop playing next year. The OJs, George, and who else is senior. But these guys are still playing. So if both of them drop out next season, and then you just bring in your young guys, it's gonna even. I'm seeing teams. That happened to us years ago when all big guys dropped out, and then we didn't have enough young players to come in to fill in the spots. But if St. David's now, like they said, they're filling these spots. But like Cal said, where they're betting to is like, if they're betting with one of these senior guys who can make it easier for them. But then again, it's we have the game set up. What they're chasing, if the game's close, if the game's close, they still got to just play their shot to rotate the strike. And then if they're chasing a big turtle, and if they can't get it, then maybe that's a time where they say, look, let me just battle the overs, build up their run rate. I'm talking about the younger guys, stay out in the middle, get some betting practice. But like you said, it all depends how the game's set up. And right now, where St. David's going, it's like I said, the building down teams you think about it, fairly cheaply, but just can't get it wrong.
Yeah.
And to their credit, Aaron looked good today, and Isaiah It's just unfortunate that it's T20 where they were chasing a big turtle. So they're trying to play shots and get out, playing the shots, trying to chase the run. So the quality is there in the youngsters. It's just a matter of a time, and they will produce the goods.
Sure. The next match was a low-scoring affair. Bailey's Bay winning by 17 runs over Somerset. Surprisingly, Bailey's Bay were only able to get 123 for 8. They had Dowray Rollins scoring 54. Jordan De Silva 3 for 26 off of 3. And then in reply, Somerset could only manage 106 for 8. De Silva scored 32, and Rodney Trott took 3 for 11. Looking at that Bailey's Bay total, were you surprised how low it was, Cal?
Yeah, Somerset probably had good bowlers to restrict them, or good game plan to restrict them without analyzing the scorecard of who went cheaply or whatever. But once again, that Dowray factor that's in the middles, turning the innings for Bay. It's scoring the runs and then it's taking the wickets. So I think Somerset may feel that they let them off the hook. 20 runs. What was the extras? Where did we go wrong? Because I believe Somerset were in trouble early. They lost wicket in the first over or second over. But Somerset had a bad start chasing that turtle.
Right.
Yeah, they can't count that you said that. Then they was on par because there was, I think at one stage it was 87 for 4. Where Jordan was on 30 something, and I can't believe the other batsman. And they was on par like 87 for 4, and then Rodney came on and got 2 wickets. I think he got Jordan and I can't remember the other batsman. Somebody else was on. Both of the batsmen were on 30 something. And Rodney came. See, that got key bowlers. That one thing about Bailey's Bay, that lineup is stacked with good spinners. So that's what you check. Rodney came on.
Dominic Sabir was the other one.
That's who it was. Sabir. That's who it was. And because I was looking at it online, I said these two guys they could easily win this game. Jordan on 30 and Sabir was on 30. But then Rodney came on. I think he ended up getting both of them and changed the complexion of the game again.
Yeah.
So
build them both too.
Beg pardon?
Build them both. Yeah.
See, and that's what I'm saying. And that's what I'm saying. Like this is the team of Bay Hares. Like it's not sometimes not always depending on Dowray. He gets wickets. The little boy Tavares gets 3 or 4, and Dowray is getting the wickets. And Dowray is basically keeping the runs down. And so these guys are like, if you look at it, the spinners is getting all the wickets for Bay. Before you were talking about the boy Walker last year and Hudson, but this year it's these 3, all these spinners. Getting the wickets. So for team and they only score 120 and still win. So you got to give kudos to them, man. Like, but I would be concerned about the coach, like if Dowray keep making all the runs, what happens when Dowray don't? Like somebody's gonna, I think Taryn normally would get some runs, but it's been that was Taryn, but
maybe it is that factor that I can go and get out because I know I've got Dowray there that's gonna make runs for me. Maybe that's in the back of guys' minds.
You can always depend on that though, Earl. Sometimes playing against some of the better teams, like that you still have to score. It's not gonna be all the time. Dowray, it takes one ball to get the person out. So I'm sure that the other batsmen, probably saying like, especially after today's game, like. This probably lost by 17 runs or what was it, something like that? They're probably saying we got to be a lot more better with the bet now. You know what I mean? Yeah. And you score 120 and Dowray scores like
54.
3/4 of the runs.
Yeah. And they just got built up 123 for 8. So
Lose 8 wickets too. No, and what was that game played at Bay?
Yeah.
And Bay's wicket's not a bad wicket.
No.
So you can't say I don't know, but it's down Bay this season. There's been a lot of runs scored if you think about it. In the 50 overs and 20 in the knockout and the 50 overs.
Right. Yeah.
I got Connie coming up, so I'm sure they want to play on a fairly decent wicket this week.
Yeah. The last Premier Division match today. Western Stars won by 94 runs over Willicott's. Western Stars 218 for 2. Tremendous 89. Omar Emery took 1 for 22. Willicott's could only manage 124 for 9 in their 20 overs. Shaquille Bean 60 not out, with Brian Hall taking 5 for 30. Trey opening the inning, taking this. Obviously, we all know he takes his time at the start, but then once he gets in, he gets in. Looking at the match, Doc, where do you think Stars knocked Willicott's out of the match?
We always talk about it, Cal. Partnerships, they got a good start. I think it was 60 or 70 without Lewis. Mm-hmm. And once you get a start like that, dirt, you know what I mean? Like, and then I think my nephew got out when 60 or 70 something. Then Kyrie came in, and he's the better valve with Trey too. Mm-hmm. And then what happened? See, that's why you got to have a game plan, man. The game plan was first initially Jaden was hitting the ball and Trey was, like you said, not struggling, but Jaden was going. And then all of a sudden, Jaden slowed up and then Trey took over. Right. So when Jaden got out, when Kyrie came, it took a little while to get in Trey went. So, it was a game plan where whoever was in, the partnerships got to work. All Kyrie had to do just find the, get Trey the strike. And this just is what he done. And then when you look, they had another big partnership, that took them, I can't remember what the score was when Trey got
out. The first week went 63. The second week went for 162, so a 99.
Right, it was 160 something. Right, when Trey got out.
Yeah.
And then Kyrie took over.
Right.
Trey got out, and then 40 something not out.
44.
They put Brian Hall. Brian Hall came up the order, right? Yeah. And then here's a big hitter, and then there's two finish it off to take it up. So sometimes the game plan, the batting order, the batting order always change. We had left and right to start, and then but I got to give kudos to Willicott's. They actually never gave up on the field.
Right.
But it's just that sometimes if you got the right game plan. And the batsmen stick to the game plan, it makes it kind of easy, especially that's why they scored 218 runs.
Yeah. If you look at it, those two, the final two, put on just under 50 runs in less than 4 overs. Because when Brian would have gone in, Trey got out, it was 16.3 overs going. So 4.3 overs, they put on 50 runs.
Well, this happens if you have wickets in hand too.
Yeah.
You always talk about the wickets in hand, you know what I mean? So you change on the batting lineup. Of course, that's obvious. You stand in your big hitters, and that's what happens. I mean, like, and that was the game plan like today, and it kind of worked out. And once you get 218, even though you're playing up Somerset, I'm seeing 218 sometimes is not enough, but with the Berlin lineup starts at with Seth Berlin. The Steph's been building really good. He's keeping the ball back. Yeah, and then we try to spin at the other end, and it kind of worked out.
Yeah, and Cal, for a team like Willicott's, 218 would have been a mountain.
Yeah, considering they some of the key batsmen for them haven't really made runs like Dugas. It's good to see that Shaq went up and he got 60 or what. So, he's a good batsman, but during the 50 over campaign, he's farther down the order and hasn't made runs. So, they've had a hit or miss season. And you look at Chioke, he's normally a good guy that can produce runs. He hasn't made any runs today. And even Antonio. So today was just an off day for him. Whether it was mentally or the Stars bowling was really that good that, Brian got 5. So maybe that slower bowling might have pegged them down, where they weren't able to really rotate the straight or hit the balls.
Yeah.
One thing about that, when you take a big total like that, you can't lose you can't lose wickets early, but you still have to keep that run rate. You got to keep the run rate going. I think the first 4 or 5 overs they didn't use that power play enough. They could have possibly went over the top a few more. From this, that's my opinion anyway. just to make it a little interesting. Try to push stars back. But in the first, I think the power play, I don't know much runs they had, but they didn't have over 20. So right away, they're basically behind the run rate. And even though they had kind of wickets in hand, they're still basically behind the run rate. And then when people shout no, that hit, then they started losing wickets regularly after that. So that's the thing. You got to have a game plan on chasing a big total like that. Sometimes you have to send one of your bigger hitters up, or in the power play you got to take chances.
Yeah. We're going to take another commercial break. When we come back, we'll look at the first division over the weekend. We'll be right back.
I'm also thankful and grateful because my greatest value of my life is my legacy.
But why I do it? I feel supposed to do it. I was put here to be here, to do what I'm doing right now. Once I see somebody moving, it's the greatest joy for me. There's a little person being born.
I am thankful that people have given me the trust, for me to empower them, from my players to my family to friends, and that's what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful that people have allowed me and trusted me to be in their life.
Putting down the weapons.
Have you seen this?
Here's one of our favorite feature brands, true veterans of the food awareness movement. Bob's Red Mill, the U.S. leading miller of organic whole grain foods. Only whole grains have the entire value developed during growth. And once you try them, you know that this is the way food was intended to be. Try Bob's Red Mill blanched almond, whole wheat pastry, and artisan bread flours, and 1-to-1 gluten-free baking flour, unsweetened shredded coconut, gluten-free homemade wonderful bread mix, and a variety of rolled oats. Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
120.
And welcome back. Well, looking at first division yesterday at the Devonshire Recreation Club, Warwick won by 7 wickets over Devonshire Recreation Club. Devonshire Recreation Club, 97 for 7. They got 26 from Rudell Pitcher. Stephen Dill took 2 for 14 for Warwick. And then in reply, Dill scored 68 off of 42 balls. He had 1 4 7 sixes. Chris Daly was the pick of the Devonshire Recreation Club bowlers, 2 for 28. Warwick, I think they've worked out a bit on that batting lineup. We've been talking about it for the entire season, Doc. But I think the T20 suits their top 3 batsmen in, or top 4 batsmen in Malachi, Quasey James, Stephen, and the skipper Burgess, and they look like they've separated them to a point where they're able to, I watched them today, so they're able to do the own thing in their own time, kind of thing.
Yeah, Stephen would probably be relishing that because he wanted to open up in 50 overs, but being they had Quasey and Malley, and they changed it. But 2020, I think Stephen's got to go. So like you said, now with Quasey back, Malachi and Corey. So yeah, and being that they're playing in first division, yeah, I think they could be strong contenders for going up them and probably Cleveland and Flats, one of those teams. So it's going to be interesting down in the first division.
Yeah, looking at a club like Devonshire Rec, Cal, struggling for players, probably struggling to train as well. What do they do? Where do they go?
Yeah, today they only actually played with 9 men. So
right.
They started with 9, felt out with 9, and batted with 9. So it's that dual combination of Saturday, Sunday cricket, maybe next weekend, because it's only one round, they'd have 11. But, the wholesome conversation is, I think they've been playing with 11 all this time. So what happened on today that they only had 9 players that, quite obviously some couldn't make it for whatever reason. I wouldn't say it's a concern because it's probably the first time they played short. So it's just a matter of, regrouping, and next round or next match have 11 players. They were pretty much in it with Drew Wande and Lima leading the chase. And it's unfortunate, as soon as those two got out, the rest of the players don't hang around too long.
Right. Yeah. It's a big problem for them. And then Flats defeated Southampton Rangers by 51 runs. Gary now was the top scorer, 104. Curtis Jackson took 2 for 41. Akale Bean, in reply, Rangers scored 140 for 5. Akale Bean was 55. And Jemai Douglas took 2 for 24. I actually went to this particular match and was there. The national coach was there, and he was there to see, Jemai Douglas bowl, because he said that, he got word that there was a young man that was pretty quick. And he does bowl with a lot of speed. It's going to take a little while because, with speed comes a little bit of wayward bowling at times, especially when he wants to bowl a lot faster. But you could tell he's got potential. It's what we do with it. And hopefully at Flats, somebody could help him out, and he can get help as well at the national level to give him some guidance to, become even better. But just looking at Flats with now scoring 104, Southampton Rangers, I think they looked at that total and said, yeah, we can't get that. What's your thoughts, Cal?
I actually Demai Bill today. Very good technical bowler, has the pace. Like you said, he just needs someone to work with his run up. Just listening to his run up is actually coiling too soon. He still has 2 more steps to get before he's hitting the lines. So, raw talent. As always in Bermuda, we have players that have that natural ability. So hopefully someone's able to work with him and benefit him, his team, and overall benefit Bermuda. But with Rangers, it's been an unfortunate season. They've scored a high score, I think, once, if I'm not mistaken, in the 50 over round. So hopefully somewhere in this T20, the season will get right. They're still probably looking for that first win, and give them some hope.
Yeah.
And we'll probably say it's a rebuilding season. We're looking good. We're right. The expectations or the reality of where we are is on par. So it's a start for them.
Yeah. Doc, looking at a team like Flats, I mean, they have some experienced players in there. You talk about Kevin Hurdle. You talk about the former skipper,
Keyshawn Franks.
Yeah, Franks. You still got your boy Carey and Kofi Robinson.
Yeah.
These guys, if they can work with, and they have a bunch of youngsters. They got Logan Jones. They got young boy Robinson, Keegan Jones as well.
Yeah.
Young boy Robinson, Shane Robinson, and
they have a few decent. You can't count Flats out. They got some experienced players, and they got a few good youngsters, man, coming through the ranks. I haven't seen much of Regino Smith this year. I don't know if I don't know if it's been playing that much.
He played yesterday.
Yeah, these guys are been in the national team. You got Hurdle, the guy now who's making a lot of runs for him. He's a decent hitter off the ball. I think it's from South Africa. It's a fairly good batsman. But then we say you got Logan Jones, Keegan, Kofi Robinson, and then you got Keyshawn Franks, also a senior player. So Flats, like I said, you can't condemn out in the fight for the first division too.
I think their biggest problem is having a recognized full-time coach that can help them on a regular basis. I know there's a lot of guys, former players from Moroni Club, helping them out and all that, but you need to have somebody who can really, really, do the job to help them, get the best out of them on game days. I think that's where they lack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like I said, they definitely have the experienced players and the youth behind them. So, that could be one thing they could be looking for. A nice, decent coach to help them. During the games and training wise too. Then sometimes that brings out more players too. So,
Right.
But like I said, they got a formal team too. So they're probably getting ready just like St. Davis for Cunny too. So a lot of these guys, probably be still there. Most of the Eastern Conny teams like Flats, Cleveland, St. Davis, Conny means a lot to them. I'm not saying the league does, but this helps those guys to keep playing, being that they know that a Conny coming around, guys keep training hard, to show the enthusiasm. So, it'd be interesting to see when they play one of the, the top teams like a Cleveland or Warwick. They'll probably need to win those games if they're going to go up.
Then today, Cleveland won by 9 wickets over that same Southampton Rangers team. Southampton Rangers were all out for 71. Top scorer was Nijaya Rayna with 30. You had Dion Stubble taking 3 for 9 from 4 overs. And then in their inning, it was Treadwell Gibbons scoring 32 not out as they scored 75 for 1. And Keyshawn Wilson was the only bowler to take a wicket. Cleveland made light work of Southampton Rangers. I'm just going to see. Southampton Rangers batted 17.1 overs, and Cleveland batted 8.2 overs to win the game. So less than, what's that? Just over 25 overs were billed in a 40-over match. Just not good enough. Well, Cleveland showed that they were just too strong for Cleveland. I mean, for Rangers, Doc?
Yeah, I would. I would think so. Is the Rangers have a full strength team today? I'm going to say for their 11. Yeah,
players, they had 11. Yes.
One thing about them, you can, at least they're putting out 11. They're putting out 11 players each week. So it'd be interesting when Rangers play Damasharack. That's going to be a good matchup.
Right.
And I'm kind of leaning towards Southampton Rangers just because, they're still playing. They got 11 players. So that's going to be an interesting matchup. That could be the first victory. I'm sure they're probably looking at.
And the thing is, Curtis Jackson didn't play today. He played yesterday, but he didn't play today.
Yeah, maybe sometimes you got to give the youngsters a go. But and what about the Richardson, Dalen Richardson?
Dalen played today. He was out without scoring.
Yeah, like I said, so you still got, Dalen and if you look at it, Rangers scored 140 yesterday against Flats.
Yeah.
So even though Flats scored 200 and something,
191.
191. You got to give kudos to Rangers that they probably scored the highest total this, and that was in the 2020. They scored 140 for 5. So they they batted up the overs and they lost 5 wickets. But I don't know what happened to them today, but just they're playing a far superior team than the Flats. But just goes to show you like how one day could turn in and the next day it can.
Yeah. Cal, looking at last week in the final, we saw a deflated Cleveland County team when they were feeling out late in that game. What do you think Clevie had to do this week to get them back up for the start of the T20?
They have caliber within the team. I think the coaching would have been a lot easier with players like Dion that are of a standard that, he would expect the players to come up. So, plus Connie is coming up for him, so that extra hype of playing cricket and being cricket ready would suit him. Unfortunate the game went the way it did last week and the rain break and then the no second innings type of thing. But I don't think they're going to give up because they have the quality within them that they want to be somewhere. They want to reach the best that they could get. I'm more than sure they're looking to get promoted out of this first division into the Premier Division T20. So that would be the first goal out of this T20 league.
Yeah. And then other matches today we saw Warwick Wackman defeat Somerset Bridge by 7 wickets. Warwick Wackman's Somerset Bridge were 104 for 4, and Warwick Wackman's were 105 for 3. For Somerset Bridge, Karen Richardson was the top scorer of 32. In reply, Malachi Jones scored 56. Sean Riley took 2 for 24 in the Warwick inning. Again, just seeing Malachi free flow in that run chase. He gave a couple of chances. Eventually, one was taken. But in this division, when you have, like we said earlier, when you have like a Malachi, a Quasi, Corey, and obviously Stephen, Warwick will think they have a chance in every game, as well as those youngsters Berlin. That's not put too much shade on the fact that they have the likes of Luke Horan and other youngsters who are really doing well with the ball in hand, not giving up a lot of runs. Even if they don't get wickets, they're not giving up a lot of runs. Cal, you've seen a lot of that Warwick play. What's your thoughts on them progressing out of this division if given that chance?
They should be able to. They have a good balanced team. The batsmen are scoring runs, and like you said, with the Luke Horan and the Luke Fultons leading the Berlin attack. So they have the confidence going in rather than Berlin or batting. It's just a matter of them constantly producing the goods to get the wins.
Right. The one thing that's going to hurt them is one weekend when the under-19s are away, that they'll have to play 2 games. Warwick will have to play 2 games. And I believe they have about 5 players from Warwick in that under-19 team. How does the board deal with that? Or how does Warwick deal with that?
Well,
Match goes on, Earl. I don't know if they're rode in or whatever, but the game's got to be played. That's the downside of having quality youngsters within your program. If they're going off on international duty, you want to wish you on the 19th well. Unfortunately, it's going to have an impact on the club.
I don't know how many players. I know there's at least 5, right? 4 or 5.
Yeah.
But I'm sure they could match up. It's a few players that are probably not playing. But because I think in the beginning of the season, those guys had like 20, 25 players training.
Right.
So I don't know if you see a lot of those players that left on loan or they're still there, but I'm sure they could match up at least 4 or 5 players. But like Cal said, unless they rule the ladder.
Actually, they have 6 players in the team.
See, that's quite a bit. If I was them, I would have definitely ruled the ladder. But the game, that's depending on the board. I don't know how they're going to reschedule it. It's difficult.
Right.
It's difficult, and that could impact them going up too.
Yeah.
That could even bring those games forward, like Warwick's game. What I heard, play them on a Saturday.
Remember they're playing double headers now, so.
So I don't know.
The only chance they stand is if they play on an Eastern County day.
Right, and then there's a team.
But it all depends on who they're playing. So let's look at it. The squad is away from the 9th to the 18th. On the 13th, Warwick are due to play Cleveland. And then on the... there's only one game. It's only one game. So they're due to play Cleveland on that one game. And then August 20th, when those guys are back, they play Flats. So it's the one game and it's against Cleveland, so they can't even play. But actually, no, Cleveland's not going to want to play on an Eastern Coney Day.
Yeah.
It's we just have to wait and see what the board decides on it.
Right.
It's a tricky one, right? They can if you do that for work, then some other teams start writing you and you look, it's going to be,
Yeah, well, if you got 6 guys that are regularly playing in your
I
team,
know that's a lot of players.
yeah.
Yeah. Play 2 evenings.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't know if you want to play at the stadium because everybody ain't producing nothing but low scores.
Well,
That's the application of the batsman.
Okay. I'll take it from you. All
it
right.
gets better. Hopefully it gets better now with the sun coming out. Because remember, we still had a lot of rain the last couple of weeks. Now if they got the rule on it, hopefully it gets better.
Yeah.
My thing, like Cal said, it's in the wicket itself too, but I think it's in the players more, like it's in the players too, like I don't know, it's just playing on the bigger fields, like it's a lot of spaces there. You don't have to hit big boundaries all the time. You could go over the top, fields up, or you're gonna have to, what's wrong with 4?
Yeah.
6, 5 4s and over, 3 4s and over, and then a single, like to clear the boundary. You just gotta be confident in the shot. You can't just say, "Oh, I don't know about this field." If you don't know about the field, don't try the shot.
Don't try the shot. Yeah. The last first division match of the weekend saw Flats defeat Devonshire by those 67 runs. Taiwan Frank's top score 58 not out. Chris Daly 2 for 24. Recreation Club were all out for 98. One day Bascom out for 33. Kevin Hurdle 3 for 25. Cal, you were talking about this Devonshire Recreation Club team today playing short, and you talked about one day batting. Just not enough clearly not enough players, but not enough to defend, is it?
I think Devonshire Rock built well and felt out well with 9 players. What the other 2 would have made much of a difference as far as fielding out, how many more runs they would have saved, and what it would have done for the batting. So for me, I thought it was a reachable total on the pitch they were playing on. And like I said, once Drew Day and Lima got out, the rest of the party didn't show up. So, that's something they need to work on.
Yeah.
That everybody at least needs to chip in with X amount of runs when you're looking at the total you're chasing.
Yeah.
You got to give kudos to Rack because, like you said, Cal, even in the Berlin, they had Rack in middle order. They had Flats middle order. Like in some, when I looked, I think it was 100 something for 4, maybe 90 something or 90 something for 4 or 5. Until Franks came in and made that 50 to take it up, the score up. So, and like Cal said, maybe if they were 11 players, you never know what happened. But with Now and Franks, they end up making that partnership. So Now didn't get that much runs.
Yeah, Now didn't get runs, and Franks was actually dropped. So he still ended up getting 50 odd, but
he got 50 odd. But like I said, it was in a crucial time because they had a lot of the top.
Yeah, they were 4 for 53.
4 for 53. I remember saying, I know it was 4 for something. And, Franks made that partnership. I can't remember who it was.
Paul Carr.
Paul Carr.
89 for 5 to 131.
Right.
Yeah.
I was looking online at that and I said, hey, this is, but I didn't know Rack had 9 man.
Yeah. And Carr actually came in and played some quality shots himself. So, there's 2 extra fielders that aren't in position to extra cover and all them other places. So one guy is covering a whole lot of ground. And 2 guys really would have made a difference for Devonshire Rock today.
Carr's a very experienced player. He's played a long time. He's a very experienced player.
Yeah. It's unfortunate that when he was playing with Flats, because of religion, he never got a chance to show people what he could do in Connie Cop. So it was unfortunate. Yeah. Let's take our final commercial break. When we come back, we'll talk Player of the Week, and we'll be right back.
It seems everyone knows someone who's lactose intolerant or just avoiding dairy products. And fortunately, there's a growing array of delicious and nutritious alternatives. Pacific Natural Foods have been doing things their own way simply and sustainably for over a quarter century, making non-dairy beverages with the finest possible ingredients right down to the packaging. Try Pacific Natural Original and Vanilla Hemp Milk and Almond Original Plant-Based Beverage, all sweetened or unsweetened, and low-sodium organic vegetable or chicken broth. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
I'm also thankful and grateful because my greatest value of my life is my legacy.
But why I do it? I feel supposed to do it. I was put here to be here, to do what I'm doing right now. Once I see somebody moving, it's the greatest joy for me. There's a little person being born.
I am thankful that people have given me the trust, for me to empower them, from my players to my family to friends, and that's what I'm thankful for.
Putting down the weapons.
You seeing this?
And welcome back. Well, let me just run down some of the top performers from yesterday and today. We had in the work game with Somerset Bridge Malachi, 56. We had in the Devonshire Flats game, Kaiwan Franks, 58 not out. They won that by 67 runs. At work, won by 7 wickets. The St. George's game, you had Onias Bascom scoring 53 not out. St. George's would win that by 65 runs. Bailey's Bay, Dowray was the top scorer with 54. Jordan De Silva, 3 for 26. Jordan also scored 32. And unfortunately, Somerset lost. You had Rodney Trott, 3 for 11 from 4 overs. And then the Western Stars game, you had the standout player, obviously, Trey Manders, 89, and Shaquille Bean scored 60 not out for Willacott. Brian Hall took 5 for 30 to lead Western Stars to victory. And then yesterday, you had in Bailey's Bay game with Willacott, Sharad Tavares, 4 for 28. Dowray was 45 not out when Bayless Bay crossed the score. They won that by 6 wickets. The Somerset St. George's game, you had L.J. Richardson scoring 78 not out. And then Charles Trott, 65 for St. George's to come back and win that. Other standout players, Devonshire Rec. You had against Warwick, you had Stephen Dill scoring 68 runs. He took 2 for 14, and then the biggest scorer for the weekend was Jan Johan Now from Flats, scoring 104 for Flats. They got 191 for 3, and you had Akale Bean scoring 55 in reply. Just looking at that, Doc, and there's numbers and there's standouts. Who would you say would be the person that kind of had the best weekend in total?
Well, there's no other than Delray had. You look at it, the weekend, 40 something not out.
Yeah, 45 not out and 54. Yeah.
Yeah. So, if you look at both days, but then you can't count out the Flats now scoring 100. Trey, who else? of course, the Stephen deal, 60-something out on skin, but Delray's you look at it, Delray's had another good weekend.
Right. Also, LJ's knock Somerset day before yesterday.
78.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you heard or everybody's stuff, but who would you say had the best weekend?
Jeez, put me on the spot here. It's been some good knocks, some good performances, betting and building. He's been the most consistent. Like Doc said, Delray has had 2 good days, but there have been some stellar performances that's turned teams innings or games for individual days. But had 100 in a T20 match, which is outstanding. Some 5-wicket holes in a T20 match, which is also outstanding. So it's been varied. How did we pick one? If we had to pick one, how did we go?
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm gonna. You're gonna make the decision, Cal. You were talking about put you on the spot. I'm going with Now's knock of 104.
Yeah. No
So
worries.
Doc picked Delray. I've picked Now. Cal, you want to be on the spot?
I favor Now or as a bowler the 5-wicket hole from Brian. Even Sean Riley bowled well yesterday, getting 4 in his 4 over. So I think we're kind of stuck on 3 different people.
Okay.
So it's like I said, it's hard trying to pick out individual when there were so many good performances related to teams. Period.
Right.
Yeah. And like you said, the boy Now scoring 100, in a T20. I mean, like, you gotta. I mean, even though it was against Devon Chirac, right?
No, it's against Rangers.
No.
Rangers.
Doesn't matter who it's against. Still it's
still 100.
It's still 100. I mean, and he scored 104 out of the 190. So
yeah.
I mean, if you do that, I was just pointing out the all wrong for the weekend.
All wrong for 2 days, yes. For 2 days, yes.
Not only that, if it's Berlin too, and his
leadership on the field.
Leadership, he's betting too. But like I said, this boy scored 100. You can't, you can't, and his team won too. So
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
And again, like I said, Cal Sevilla 5 wickets. Brian's 5 wickets.
Brian Hole 5 for 30.
And
he got a 5-wicket hole in the 50 overs as well.
Yeah, that was a couple of weeks ago then.
Yeah.
So we could sure though a batsman and a bowler.
I don't know. That's entirely up to Earl.
All right. So you're saying, and guess what? If it is, it'll be the second time Brian Hole shared it with somebody.
I think they're both outstanding performances. 100 in a T20 and then 5 wickets in a T20 too. So
I'm happy to go with that.
I wouldn't feel right picking one over the other, and they both had outstanding performances.
Sure. So we'll go with Yan Han Now from Flats and Brian Hole from Western Stars as the players of the week. How's that?
Good for me.
All right. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. We'll see you next week, same time, same place. Enjoy your night.
Yo, man. Have a good one.
Have a good one. Bye.